Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
Hey, viperkeeper here. Well, I appreciate all the sentiments about losing Mr. Speck. But we packed up and sent Elvis off to his new home, which is run by friend of mine for a long time, George Van Horn. Elvis's new home will be at George's Serpentarium in St. Cloud, Florida, near Orlando. So if you're in the area, you can drop by and see Elvis there. George apprenticed and worked for the great Bill Hast, and has been in venomous snake husbandry business for a very, very long time. His king that he's had for a long, long time passed and was looking for a king, and it just happened at the right time that Elvis outgrew his place here in the lair. So Elvis has this huge display case, probably 3 times as big as the space that I could provide, with a pool and a skylight. And he has a shift and trap system where no human, including George, will come in contact with Elvis. So Elvis will not be a danger to anybody. George has sustained a king cobra bite in the past, so he knows what that's like and how tricky it can be to work with kings. George's facility is part reptile zoo and part venom lab. He's one of the few accredited venom labs in the country, and Elvis will be very well cared for. I sent the Reaper down a while back to George's facility. I've sent George snakes in the past. He is a top-level keeper. Unlike many of the suggestions that were made on my last video about the Lacy Act, which we'll get to the Lacy Act again here in a moment, but there were people suggesting where I send Elvis. First of all, Elvis came from a zoo, therefore has to go back to an accredited zoo. I can't just hand him off to anybody. And these people that were suggested, in my opinion, aren't qualified to take care of a pile of Elvis's processed rodent poo that he leaves in the cages. I'll leave my particular names and the usual suspects out, but there was no way in hell that Elvis was just going to go to anybody. As a matter of fact, I just don't sell or loan or do anything with any of my animals to just any keeper. I mostly provide animals for zoos and venom labs currently. By the way, Elvis is just a display animal, as well as all the animals I've provided. George George provides venom primarily for the anti-venom business, for Crofab and Anavip and certainly the new Pfizer coral snake anti-venom. George has produced a lot of venom for that project for Pfizer. So Elvis is in very good hands. It breaks our hearts here that we had to move him on, but being chased around the room by a 14-foot king cobra that's having a feeding response that you just can't control. I have it all on video. I doubt I will ever publish the video. It was from the webcams in the room. It was quite frightening. And no, somebody else mentioned on one of the comments on the video that I had gotten bitten. No, this is not the case, although I do have king antivenom here, like I have antivenom for most of the animals here. No, I was not bitten. The last time that I incurred a bite was 2014 by a very large black mamba. I was cleaning some poo out of its cage and it launched itself, and I deflected it, but only partially. It sunk a fang into my chest, only one fang. I went to the hospital and received some antivenom and was released the next morning. As a matter of fact, I was quite ready to leave 2 or 3 hours after I received the antivenom and was feeling well. However, as a precautionary measure, the doctors were reluctant to release me. Okay, so that's Elvis. Elvis is no longer at the lair. I'm sorry. It hurts me more than I think it hurts the rest of you. Having raised 2 kings from hatchlings and moved them on to bigger facilities when they grew too large for me to properly care for, you know, I've done my part. The buzzard is at the Richmond Zoo. He was the first king that I grew from a hatchling to an adult. And now Elvis is down at George Van Horn's Serpentarium in St. Cloud, Florida. And I'll put up that information. If you're in the Orlando area, you can stop by and see Elvis. Now just another quick word on the Lacy Act. It seems that the good senator from Florida, Rubin, is the one that introduced the Lacy Act Amendment. So he's the one that you should go after. And as many of you pointed out on the original Lacy Act video that I posted like a week or so ago, oh, it's the Democrats, oh, it's the liberals. No, get over it. I've been a libertarian for many, many years, and both sides mean us harm. They want to control us, they want to limit what we can do and what we can't do, so get over it. You're better off not supporting either party. Senator Rubin from Florida, Republican, is the one that introduced this amendment into the Senate bill, which will be reconciled with the House bill. And it's essentially Armageddon for the pet industry. Certainly the traditional pets, cats and dogs and such, and other farm animals and such will be exempt. But unless you act, and you act quickly, you can kiss most of your tropical fish, your birds, your reptiles, your invertebrates all goodbye. because you won't be able to import any fresh stock from other places in the world. You won't be able to transport them from place to place within the country, essentially turning you into a felon just for taking a restricted animal across state lines. So write your senators, write your congressperson, and try to get this stopped. There's not much hope for the lair, because if this bill passes, I will not be able to bring in interesting animals for you folks to see, and it'll make some extra paperwork if I need to transfer one of the animals to the zoo. I'm sure it will be just a nightmare. So with that, I'll close and thank everybody for their kind words and support. Lori and I appreciate you all, but it's not the liberals, it's not the Democrats, it's both sides of the aisle, the Republicans and the Democrats, that want to restrict your freedom. So don't be saying that it's one side or the other, because they're both out to get us. Again, this is Viperkeeper signing off. I will catch you in the next video.